Hello, good evening to all out there. Welcome into the PHLY Phillies, soon to be post-game podcast presented by Bet365. We're so pumped to have Bet365 on board with us. And just know, it is never unique or ordinary, or it's always unique. It's never ordinary. At Bet365, use the code PHLY365 at sign up, and you can get $150 in bonus bets right off the bat. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Guys, it's bottom of the eighth inning. If for anybody that's tuning in, we're going to watch this ninth inning in misery together because I have no confidence in this team, as I'm sure any of you do. But just a quick story from my house last night. I went outside for dinner for the first time because it wasn't god-awful hot for once. We're sitting on the deck, and I got stung in the cheek and the back of my hand by a wasp.
Oh.
And that is more enjoyable than watching the Phillies right now.
Your face cheek?
Right here, yeah, not the ass cheek, right here.
No, but
luckily,
I mean,
not my ass check, Renee.
The same wasp stung you on the cheek.
Yeah, I think there was 2 or 3. I couldn't really tell. I screamed like a girl and ran inside, and I pushed my children and wife out of the way, like George Costanza, and I went inside. So I can't tell if it was the same or if it was 2. But anyway. That was more fun than watching the Phillies right now.
That's sad, but it's very accurate, and it sounds a lot more fun than what we're witnessing currently.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Taijuan Walker, and welcome back. This is painful, and we talked about the return home. We talked about the get right of this week to be able to get healthy and to be able to get this team back to looking in good form, getting confidence, all the positive juju we were trying to spread. But at the end of the day, I think what I take away from this is you have 2 teams in very completely different spots, and it shows. Miami is just playing. They're playing carefree. They got nothing to lose. They have a whole roster of guys that have been DFA'd or brought up from the minors. They're just playing, and the Phillies look like a team that is just nothing here. The lights are on and nobody's home. I mean, it's bad. We need some of that firepower that we had with that wasp that stung you last night. I wish they had that sort of like aggression out and confidence the way that wasp attacked you out.
I haven't been stung in a long time.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
How much that hurts.
Yeah, that sounds painful.
No, it's fine. My wife laughed at me like right as it was happening. So
I just shoot that.
Yeah, it's like hot and itchy. That's the most annoying part, and it's just like slightly swollen.
So that was quite a day. It's quite a 24 hours for you.
Well, I did golf 9 holes today, so it was 10 out of 10 weather day. We've had 2 of those in a row. So I mean, like, my life outside of baseball and the Philadelphia Phillies right now is quite swell. My life regarding the Philadelphia Phillies right now, quite terrible. Taijuan Walker tonight returned, and Tyler, I'm sure you have some observations from him. He wasn't even breaking 93 miles an hour. We've talked about it before with him. The splitter, he kind of needs a little bit of velocity and the splitter to be great. When he's hitting mid 92s, that's not a good sign for him, especially after a 4 to 5 week strength rehab program that they put him through to try to get that velocity back up. It's just not there. I'm on the verge of saying this is just a terrible contract. He's cooked. And, one of the worst contracts in Phillies history of recent time.
Well, yeah, he certainly wasn't good today. I think.
I hope I'm not going too extreme, but that's exactly where I started going. Like, well, this contract sunk.
His location was poor today. He didn't have a whole lot of light. And it was funny because in the first inning, I sat there and I said, listen, if he sits 91, 92, I'll be thrilled, because we talked about the velocity was down his last start. They said it was up to about 93. In the minor leagues when he was doing his rehab. But if he sat 91, 92 with location, I think it would have been a much different outcome, especially because of the fact that, if we're being honest with ourselves, guys, the umpire today was terrible for both sides.
Oh, both ways. Yeah, he was trash. Brendan Miller was his name.
Anymore.
A ball and a half each way. I mean, Taijuan Walker was getting calls that were just egregious, but he was bad for both sides. So I guess he was consistent. But we can sit here and talk about Taijuan Walker all we want. But I mean, this is an anemic offense today. And it was lifeless. Lifeless is the word that I would use, because they had a guy today that was up there. I don't want to say throwing meatballs, because he pitched well. He clearly knows how to attack hitters and pitch backwards. But they took zero advantage of anything that was in the zone. A ton of pop-ups. There was like 4 or 5 different opportunities where he threw breaking balls that hung and kind of caught middle, and there was 4 pop-ups.
I think it's frustrating that the Phillies have been on the wrong side of career highs for guys that we're seeing. Like you look at somebody like Valente Bellozo, who literally has pitched a career high innings in the big leagues. And so I started like looking up his numbers, and I won't jump into it too early because we're still processing. But you haven't this much, and here you are. You're not even forget scoring runs. You can't even get hits. I mean, at one point, Jake Berger had more hits than the entire Phillies, every single Philly, and it's just frustrating that every time we sit up and say they should be able to get after this team and get after this pitcher, it's almost like they do worse. Like I don't even want them to play bad teams at this point, or guys that they just should be better than because they struggle. But it's been such a frustration of watching this offense just be non-existent. Where are you? And it's not just Brandon Marsh and Bryson Stott. I know people in the chat, Linda and AC Philla and Ray from Philly are talking about it. It's everybody through the offense, and now you're watching the freaking Marlins post runs on you, a team that's been it's a minor league team.
Their payroll is $13 million. Taijuan Walker's payroll is $18 million this year. I wish I was making that up. But like everything is going wrong right now. This isn't just one or two things. Carlos Estevez has looked human since he's gotten here. Orion's been slipping. The bullpen's been slipping. The starting pitching with a chance to win a series with Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, and Christopher Sanchez. I don't give a damn if it's on the road. You had a chance to take one. That goes wrong for you. 66% of your lineup is absolute trash right now offensively. Your best players are Kyle Schwarber, Alec Boehm, and Johan Rojas. Oh, and Nick Castellanos. So five of your five of your players are contributing. 4 are just sinking you. Bad luck is going your way. Like Tyler pointed out in our text chain, that Nick Castellanos ground rule double is a run if it stays in play. Just so many. The umpires are against them. Luck is against them. They're getting out hustled. They don't seem to have the body language that they care much right now. And I'm sure they do, but they just look lifeless. This is all around, I think, the new low point.
Definitely. They keep making it worse. Every time you feel like it's bad, it gets worse. Carlos Estevez has been top in Major League Baseball in saves, and then ever since joining the Phillies, he's looked worse. Austin Hayes, we're not even seeing him now. He's got a left hamstring strain.
Begging for him to get back.
Tanner Banks has been an innings eater, middle reliever type of a guy, and I think actually he's kind of on brand for what you expected. The point is, even the guys you brought in to help haven't been good, and it's been getting worse with every game. I feel like they're back to finding ways to make it ugly, and that you can't even forget the
JT's arm is off. To your point, like ugly. You want to talk about ugly? JT Realmuto literally manufactured a run for the Marlins tonight with 2 errant throws. I mean, JT Realmuto with errant throws. Like, what is going on?
And I know in the chat it's being brought up about Rob Thompson. Lisa's asking, like, what point do we start discussing firing Rob? I don't know. I don't think.
Well, I know immediately what I would do. Bryson Stott and Edmundo Sosa are a platoon starting tomorrow. And as soon as Hayes is back, Brandon Marsh is not seeing the field more than once or twice a week. So I would start there. That's what Rob can do.
Time to make some major changes.
Yeah, but the major changes don't include firing your manager.
No. Not at this point.
Season, especially considering a guy who has been amongst the winningest managers in this ball club's history in terms of, percentage-wise. He can't hit. He can't pitch. He can't run the bases. He can't do this, that, or the third. Listen, can he put his guys in spots to succeed? Of course. But you have a situation right now where Trey Turner is not hitting, where Bryson Stott hasn't hit for a bulk of the year, where Brandon Marsh, I'm not sure the last time Brandon Marsh has touched a baseball, let alone gotten on base. He's been terrible lately. JT has struggled since he's come back from the knee surgery. This offense all at once has seemingly faded into the night a little bit. And then on the other side, we talked about how elite the pitching staff was at the beginning of the year. They've come crashing back down a little bit. Starting rotation ERA is up. Bullpen ERA is up. listen, I understand that like the first inclination for a team that is struggling
Another
to go
pop-up.
fire the manager. It just doesn't work that way. He's not playing. He's not hitting. He's not pitching. His at-bats aren't poor. His swing selection's not poor. Like, he has an opportunity to put his guys in spots, but that's the best that he can do at the current situation. I think that over the course of this year, if you were to go back and look at how many games did Rob Thompson lose this team single-handedly, I think right now the answer is probably less than 3.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this is not a sustained losing streak that's big enough to firing Rob, period. Like, it's a very small sample size. We're talking after the All-Star break. The team was top in baseball. And as you mentioned, Tyler, I know they flashed a graphic on the screen at the beginning of the game. The Phillies before the All-Star break were top in, of course, win percentage, but also run differential, top 3 in average, top 10 in average with runners in scoring position. And then you turn around and you see, like, even the last series alone, they were 7 for 34 with runners in scoring position versus the Diamondbacks. Their starters ERA was top, number 1. Overall ERA was number 2. And the bullpen was even top 13. And all of that has come crashing and burning to be bottom of the league very quickly. So, no, I don't think it's enough that Rob would get fired. But I do think, to Lisa's point, what it's deserving of is a conversation of what does Rob need to realistically do? Because we can't continue just saying, like, oh,
he can do exactly what I said.
Correct. Because
I think that's where you start. Other than that, he's pretty much handcuffed.
I think the narrative, there's not much flexibility. But let's be honest, the narrative has been, oh, the hitting will come around, the pitching will come around.
No, it's too late for that.
It's going to magically click. It's time to actually make some changes in the positional players in the lineup. Nothing, you don't have to shake it up too drastic, but you do got to make some changes because this is not working.
No, so I mean, the reality is Bryson Stott and Brandon Marsh are not suitable everyday players right now. Not anywhere close. I know Stott gives you defense. Marsh gives you defense when he's in left. They're just not. They're not daily players right now. And to continue to, and look, Tyler, you can talk about this because baseball managers, let's keep the main thing, and king of the cliches and a bunch of Jalen Hurts talk. It's not probably going to happen. He's probably going to give Bryson Stott every opportunity to get out of this, even though it feels like it's already been extended to him. But I think if I was the manager right now, as soon as Austin Hayes is back, you're my full-time left fielder again, Brandon Marsh, you're platooning Rojas, and Rojas is the primary center fielder because he's been swinging the bat well and gives you elite defense. And Bryson Stott, you're in a platoon with Edmundo Sosa, and it's TBD who plays more games a week.
Yeah, right now, Johan Rojas is swinging the bat well. Defensively, he's going to provide for you. When Austin Hayes comes back right now, to me, I think that, Jamie, you asked me about 4 different times over the last 2 weeks, like, what's the platoon come playoff time? And I kind of balked at the question.
It's becoming clear.
Each and every time. I think the answer is the platoon is second base right now. And the starting left fielder in the playoffs is Austin Hayes, and the starting center fielder in the playoffs is Johan Rojas. I do have a question for you guys real quick, though, because AC Phillip brought it up in the chat. And
by the way, it did go final to everybody that just is with us. So it's over.
They say that, maybe this team is just the same team as last year, an 89-92 win team. And so it kind of got me thinking, if you were to say to me at the beginning of the year, if this team, I probably would have gone a little higher echelon, probably 92-95 with this roster.
Mm-hmm. Preseason, what did we say? I think I said 92, 93.
I think I said 91, 92.
Yeah, we were all in that range.
If you were to say to me that this team was going to win at the end of this year, like back in March, they're going to win 93 games, I think we would all said, yeah, that sounds about right. Like, their offense is going to go cold at times. It's going to hold them back. They're pitching, their starting rotation, especially if you can get an ascension from Christopher Sanchez and Ranger Suarez stays healthy. Like, it's a good staff. It's a good bullpen. It's a good team. They're going to have ebbs and flows. And if they win 92, 93 games, you'd be thrilled. I think the issue that a lot of people are having right now, and justifiably so because they're playing some horrendous baseball at the moment, is that they were on pace for like 106 after at the end of June. And all of a sudden, the tides have turned. If they were a 93-win pace team all year, I think the gripe might have been a little bit more tamed and subdued. But because of the fact that this team jumped out to the hot start that it did, I think a lot of people now are starting to feel like there's a ton of just not even cracks, it's crumbling because of the fact that they're playing as poorly as they are over the last now month and a half.
Yeah, it's really, really bad. And Renee, let me just remind people that we are brought to you by Bet365. It's never ordinary at 365.
Yeah, I was going to say, essentially, the other hard part is just how fast it changed. I mean, as you talk about, Tyler, had this team been playing at this level the entire season, it would be a little bit more easier of a pill to swallow. But to see how quickly it switched, and it started with the London series, and we kept just expecting it would get better. The All-Star break, the trade deadline, we just kept expecting things would come together and they'd get out of it. And the rut has actually gotten worse. And to see that big of a drop off is very frustrating. And, that's the hard part. When you look at the sustained success that we were expecting and hoping for, that hasn't happened. But you guys know where you can find sustained success that's got decades and decades of success. That's with our friends over at Miller Lite. So at Miller Lite, you don't have to ever worry about the quality dropping off and a dip in consistency, because Miller Lite has kept the most important things. They've kept the main thing for decades. That's the great taste.
Jalen Hurts.
That's the fact that since back in 1975, you still know that with Miller Lite, you're getting both. You're getting that less filling and that great taste. You're getting only 96 calories, and you're getting a light beer that tastes like beer. Some of us have been getting lit off of Miller Lite lately. Jamie, I'm looking at you, because Miller Lite gives you the ability to enjoy relaxing with a nice, refreshing cold Miller Lite and not having to worry about all the calories or that filling feeling in your stomach. It is the original light beer since 1975. We are thrilled to be able to work with Miller Lite and to provide Miller Lite specials and different things at our events and be able to drink it ourselves at the studio. And you guys can enjoy it as well, too, because right now you probably need to crack open a nice cold Miller Lite. And don't worry, you don't have to choose what's best. Miller Lite has that great taste. It's less filling. It always tastes like Miller time. And you can get Miller Lite delivered right to your door. Visit MillerLite.com/PHLY Phillies, or you, of course, can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Check it out. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's got 96 calories per 12 ounces, fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer, but that great taste of Miller Lite.
It wasn't my fault. I was being an international host with 18 Germans in ALLCITY last weekend.
And we got drunk.
And we got tons of Miller Lite. I had to show them the way.
Wasted.
We were playing Bago.
If it makes you feel any better, Seth in the chat says, no disrespect to our friends at Miller Lite, but I think we need Everclear right now.
Oh, no. We do need something a little stronger now.
Well, what you really need is to take advantage of how bad the Phillies are right now. And you can do that over at Bet365. Right now, you can sign up using code PHLY365 and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. They have over 90 million users worldwide. They stream over 780,000 events each year, and they have the best early payout offers across NBA, NFL, NHL, and MLB. They pioneered live in-game betting. And I'm going to get to work firsthand with some of these boosts and odds makers to bring our PHLY audience some unique, fun stuff. So right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Use that code PHLY365 at sign up, deposit $10, and claim your offer. They have the early payout offer in MLB. If your team goes up 5 runs at any point in the game, you win. Like when the Marlins just got their 5th run right there, boom. You're getting paid out instantly. You don't even have to wait till the end of the game. They got the Tuesday bet and get, wager $50 or more across Tuesday's MLB matchups and get $25 in bonus bets. If you wager between $20 and $41, you will get $10 in bonus bets. So download the Bet365, use code PHLY365 when you sign up, and check out our boost to see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. And if you were smart, you would just bet against the Phillies every single night right now. John Foley is going to join us after the Rob Thompson press conference from down at Citizens Bank Park. But I think, look, I've kind of been relatively chill on the panic meter when we've pulled the room the past week or so. I was still like 2, 5, 3 on the 10 scale of panic. I think I'm all the way up at probably like a 6.5 approaching a 7 pretty quickly. This week could bring me into the 7s easily. Where are you two on this panic scale of things?
I'm actually past the point of panic. I'm at the point of like, it's over. We'll try again next year. Like I got to this point with the Eagles in the fall. And I know everybody keeps bringing up the Eagles in the chat. And I got to a point late in the season with the Eagles where I was kind of like, they can't hurt me anymore. I've given up on this season. I hate to say this, with it only being August, because I just feel like, unfortunately, if this is how, one of the best things that we liked about the Phillies was when they had a drop off, when somebody was struggling, somebody else would step up. We had not seen in the first half of the season a time where the entire team was bad and they were able to get out of it. They were able to grind out wins, grind out runs, grind out plays. You know, we're seeing sloppy fielding. We're seeing bad at-bats, just very undisciplined, terrible base running, awful with runners in scoring position. Pitchers can't find the strike zone and get a strike at all. It's just like everything is going wrong. And it's concerning because this is the time of the year where it's no longer earlier you could say, oh, it's good. You're getting it off your chest. You're getting these losses out the way. Not now. We are in the middle of August. September 25th, 26th, the end of the regular season is here before you know it. The wild card round begins that first couple of days of October. And then that's it. Like, there's no more time for the get right and figuring things out. At this point, teams are hitting a groove. The Padres, the
Padres are hot.
Yeah, they are.
Diamondbacks are hot.
That are watching that are just
the Dodgers just got Mookie Betts back. Yeah, like everybody's getting better.
Yeah, shout out to my fantasy team. It's terrifying to see. Sorry, that the Phillies are moving in. I thought
you were going to say it, Renee.
I had to say it.
Well, I know, but there was another addition that you texted us tonight.
I know. Well, at least if they were going to get shut out by Miami, at least they allowed Jake Berger to get some points for my fantasy team, because I did pick him up. He's been fantastic lately, as you saw tonight.
Literally nobody cares.
That wasn't the point of what I was saying. The point is to get shut out by the last place team and be 7-16 as they're sharing on the TV. 7-16 since the All-Star break. And not only are you losing, it's awful baseball right now. It's not even like close losses, fun losses. Not that there's a fun loss. It's awful baseball. So I'm past panic. I'm at the point of like.
Okay, so your meter's broken. That's good. That's comforting. Done. Tyler, how's your meter?
Patty is gone.
Well, so when you guys were sitting at like a 3, I was at like a 1, because it's a 162 game season. And over that particular moment, it was like a 3-week spell. It was those, 5 or 6 series. It wasn't.
I think I got as high as a 3.5.
It wasn't daunting to me at that current juncture. And I know somebody brought them up in the chat earlier. Your hope at this point is that this is the same slide that the Texas Rangers took last year, and found a way to turn things around in late September and made parlayed it to a World Series run.
There wasn't this many games though for Texas.
What's that?
It wasn't this many games for the Rangers.
Texas lost 15 of 21 at one point.
Was it that many?
They had an 8-game losing streak. Followed it up with a 6-game losing streak. Not too far past that. The thing is, though, at this current juncture, this team is very talented. Do I think that they make that type of Texas run at this current moment? I don't. You would need to, there's just too many variables that would need to go right. In order for like that type of a momentum swing to happen, where you would need Ranger Suarez to get back healthy. You would need Aaron Nola.
There's an update on him today, which we'll give.
You would need Aaron Nola to kind of settle back into the first half Aaron Nola that he was after a couple of rough starts since the All-Star break. You needed a defined left fielder. You need your second baseman, whomever it might be, to be a little bit more offensively stout. Your catcher's not providing you anything offensively either. Right this moment, I don't believe that there's a significant run coming. They're talented enough to do it, but I don't at this moment, I would not feel comfortable heading. I would not feel super comfortable heading into the playoffs past game 1, where I would trust Zach Wheeler with my life. But past that, I don't know what to tell you.
We are putting Band-Aids. There's holes in the boat, and we're putting Band-Aids on it, guys. It's going down, and as much as we've tried to look at the little things, I think we're all saying the same thing in the chat. I know people are saying it too. There's so many areas that they need to fix. How do you possibly fix all that in the next month?
You might not. I mean,
Right.
that's the reality of this. That, you know, people are saying, are they talented? I mean, yes, judging by the past 2 years' success, and you know, Bryce Harper and Trey Turner were NL MVP candidates as of 4 weeks ago. They're still very good players, not playing very good baseball. Bryson Stott and Brandon Marsh are kind of, you know, offensively your biggest liabilities right now. I don't have the equity with either of those to assume they'll return to their peak again. I mean, you certainly hope. I mean, both young players, but it is going like about as poorly as you could hope for from two pieces that you thought were going to be young cornerstone cheap pieces to supplement these rich players. And now all of a sudden, you know, I'm here banging on the table, so going, it needs to be Sosa and Stott platooned. And Tyler, you alluded to it earlier. You need a everyday left fielder. I mean, you very much have that answer. Brandon Marsh.
I think it's Austin Hayes.
Yeah, I mean, Brandon Marsh cannot play nightly right now.
And by the way,
is lost.
That doesn't mean that I think Austin Hayes is a legitimate.
No, just by default.
He's better than Marsh.
But correct. That's the thing
right
is
now.
like I'm not the biggest Austin Hayes fan in the world, but like you said, Renee, at this point, I don't think it's not an option. It's not a question. Brandon Marsh has a hole in his bat right now.
I think the other thing that we also don't talk enough about, as you guys in the chat are mentioning how we saw this last year, I think that's such a big difference for why I'm very concerned about this group. Had this been a one-off, like when the 2 seasons ago with the deep run, you get to the World Series and some of the mistakes that we saw at that point, I was like, oh, it's okay. They got further than anybody expected. This is great. But to have back-to-back seasons where you have the same mistakes, that you hit the same wall, it's insanity. That's the definition of insanity. And I think that also is going to probably cause them, because they've been here before, to start overthinking even more of like, oh no, what if we're going to have the same result as last year and we're going to get to the playoffs and struggle? Whereas if this was a team that hadn't been here before and was just happy to be in this position, they wouldn't be overthinking it. They would just be excited for the moment. But I do feel like the Phillies have not only the pressure of having the hot start in the first half of the season, but also the pressure of not repeating last year. That's weighing on them and causing them to probably even overthink. And a guy like Brandon Marsh and Bryson Stott already are struggling. You can't then be between the ears overthinking in addition to that.
Yeah, you can't make a guy like Valente Bellozo, who had never gone past, 3 innings in his career, maybe 2, to go 7 scoreless tonight. It's really, really bad. Rob Thompson is talking to the media right now. John Foley is going to join us as soon as he gets up that press elevator to the press box, and he will convey the feelings in there. Look, Rob's steady as steady can be. He doesn't go high. He doesn't go low. He's just a simple Canadian man that loves the game of baseball, and he's just going to give you a steady vibe the entire time. But this is definitely the low point. It's really, really bad. I know I keep harping on the money thing, but it's absolutely outrageous. The Marlins have a $13 million team out there. I mean, that's hard to believe. The only thing that was missing from tonight's just absolute low point was Christian Pache going yard on you. Like, I say that, you know, kind of comically, but like, that's what it felt that bad that it was like, okay, Christian Pache is going to step up here and look like a major league hitter all of a sudden.
Well, let me read it.
But they got to change the lineup real quick, Tyler. Bryson Stott cannot bat in the 5-hole. Like he's got to change the lineup tomorrow.
No,
like what are we doing? This is suicide.
No. We knew it was going to be bad when we saw that.
Let me read a joke a text I sent to you guys that felt more and more like it the more you say this $13 million thing. Here's what I sent you guys like in the second inning. Marlins lineup be like, quote, and here's the 5-hole hitter. He struck out 72 times in 91 at-bats. He'll be followed up by a guy they've called up from the Pensacola Blue Wahoos yesterday. He's never played above Double-A. And in the 6th spot, it'll be a guy that the Oakland A's didn't want.
Sounds about right.
But the problem is that actually makes the Marlins a dangerous team for the Phillies right now, because the Phillies right now have all this overthinking going on. The Marlins are cheap. They're a bunch of DFA'd guys and minor leaguers that are getting an opportunity, and all they want to do is make the most of it. They've got literally nothing to lose because they're one of the worst teams in the league. Teams like them, the White Sox, like right now, they have nothing to lose at this stretch of the season. They're going out to win a job and just play freely. And if they do lose, nobody would bat an eye at it. Whereas the Phillies have all this expectation to mop up the Marlins and put all these runs on the scoreboard, and they're already struggling as is. So to be honest, I think the series, as much as we thought it would be that get right series that helps them get healthy and get confidence back, is actually the opposite. It's a team that literally is backed in a corner with nothing to lose, and it's going to come out ready to just beat up on you. And so you can't sleep on them. You can't sleep on them. But you know you can get a great night's sleep, guys, because it's tough when we're out here stressing. But you can get a great night's sleep with our friends at Sleep Healthy PA. They are committed to helping all Philly residents stop the snore. And listen, in this time when we are stressing over the Phillies, the last thing you want to do is add a bad night's rest with some loud snoring on top of that. At Sleep Healthy PA, they find solutions for sleep apnea that help you get a good night's rest and also improve your health. I was just telling my mom actually about Sleep Healthy PA because I was spreading the word to some people and making sure everybody knows about what Sleep Healthy PA is doing, because Dr. Andrew Cohen, who's board certified in dental sleep medicine, and his staff work one-on-one with you to provide first-class care that meets your needs. They make sure to give you 2-hour initial exams that's split into 2 sessions to get some information, some medical history and imaging, and then give you some results and share recommendations for you. And when you let them know that us at PHLY Phillies sent you, you're going to get 15% off of your initial workup. So you get a discount on top of the opportunity to stop the snore. Plus, if you're tired of a CPAP machine, those cumbersome, clunky, very annoying CPAP machines that look like you're being attacked by an alien from Alien versus Predators, you can get rid of that. Sleep Healthy PA has solutions that are custom to you to make sure you can sleep much better. So if you are experiencing sleep apnea, let's say you're looking for some custom solutions to stop the snore, you can reach out to Dr. Andrew Cohen at sleephealthypa.com or give them a call at 215-337-2501. And of course, let them know that us at PHLY sent you, because the last thing we need after a frustrating night like this is a bad night's rest. So Sleep Healthy PA is helping you at least sleep well through all this mess that we're watching right now, unfortunately, with the Phillies.
Yeah, it makes me, Renee, want to go pack up a cooler and head to the mountains for the weekend and act like I've never watched the game of baseball before, because that's what I feel like doing. Baseball, who? Yeah, the Phillies? Who are they? Never heard of them. And if I was able to do that, I would pack up my rugged road cooler, hit the roads for the mountains or the beach or just somewhere to get away and look at a body of water and go camping and pretend like it's not baseball season. Hey, the Eagles are right around the corner. But Rugged Road is awesome. Rugged Road is dedicated to creating innovative and durable outdoor gear for adventurers who demand the best from their products. They're designed with the finest material and craftsmanship, ensuring they'll survive the toughest conditions. Whether it's land or water, Rugged Road gear is built to accompany you on every adventure. So head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com. Use code PHLY for 10% off. If you're a lake or pool person, these coolers float, which is awesome. If you're a fisherman, that is a great feature. And unlike some of these other coolers out there, the heavy duty guys that require like 6 grown men to lift and carry around, Rugged Road said, we're going to make it incredibly light, making them easy to transport on any trip and not compromising performance. They're versatile, whether for any outdoor activity, from fishing, tubing, camping, beach, tailgating, just the backyard with friends and family. These coolers are meant and designed to meet the needs of every outdoor enthusiast. So gear up for your next adventure with Rugged Road coolers. Reliable, durable, and built to be used. Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion. Head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use code PHLY for 10% off. And of course, this is the PHLY Phillies post-game show. Shout out to everybody in the chat here that's kind of just commiserating together. John Foley will be joining us in the very near future. The tone of Rob Thompson's press conference and the questions that he had to answer will be discussed. It's really quite bad. And, Rob Thompson's going to start coming up a lot more and more. I saw a couple tweets tonight, the seat's hot. We already kind of talked about it. But I do think he needs to start making some moves here. And I think the simplest is Edmundo Sosa. We're not going to harp on it forever. But I think that's something he needs to do tomorrow. The pitching needs to get back on track. The bullpen is shaky. I don't know what the fix is. I don't know what Kevin Long can do mechanically with these guys in the booth. I just think they're I think two of the guys are absolutely cooked between the ears. I think Bryson Stott, and I know he hit too hard tonight, but that one that he hit hard to right field was a pitch last year, a hanging 88-mile-an-hour cutter, high in the zone, letter high. Last year's Bryson Stott sends that ball into the upper deck. This year's Bryson Stott hits it 93 miles an hour off the bat. I can't really do it anymore, and I can't do it with him in the 5-hole. Like, I have more confidence. Hell, move Rojas up. Like, you want to talk about drastic moves? That guy's swinging a nice bat right now. Put Castellanos back in the 5-hole. I have more faith in JT there, even though he's dog shit at least lately too. You can't put Bryson Stott in the 5-hole. That is insane behavior.
I agree with you. The only concern I have is if it's going like I've seen this a lot of people talking about moving Nick Castellanos back up, and he would be the easy candidate because he's one of the few guys that's hitting the ball and hitting the ball hard right now. Yeah. But my worry is this is going to sound so stupid because they just got blanked by the freaking Miami Marlins. I was going to say Florida Marlins. They haven't been the Florida Marlins in 9 million years. They just got blanked by the Miami Marlins. Do you want to ruin the
I still call them Florida too sometimes.
The mojo of like one of the three guys that are currently hitting well in this lineup? Like that's the only concern that comes to my head is he's hitting really well in the 6 and 7 hole. Moving him up makes the most sense. Everybody else is not hitting well.
I don't think you can care about mojo right now, right?
Right. So like that's what I'm balancing back and forth.
Losing is the worst thing for your mojo.
If he moves up to the 5 hole and you lose him, like that's the only thing holding me back because he is the one that should be hitting in the 5 hole. Statistically speaking, he should be your 5 hole hitter right now.
I do worry about moving also Nick Castellanos just because of the type of player that he is. Like, I think looking at how he's producing offensively, he would be nice to have higher up. But based on how easy I feel like it is for him to get shaken out of that, I actually do not think I would move him. And then I also just feel like you got to figure out where guys fit best. Like someone like Johan Rojas is doing actually well, one of the better consistent.
Hell, make him your leadoff hitter. Let's get weird.
Yeah. So, I mean.
Oh, we're back on this train now. Now we're moving Schwarber again.
Oh, gosh.
Don't do this, Jay.
No, Schwarber's been one of the only bright spots.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but yeah, to your point, Renee, like, fuck it, let's get weird, right?
So, actually, with Rojas specifically, now that like the last thing I just said to you was just like a gut check feel thing. Rojas has been swinging the bat fairly well over the last couple of weeks. For him to hit down at the bottom of the order, especially if they have a competent 7 and 8, which doesn't currently exist, but if they were to, and he was a true 9-hole hitter, he adds that feel of turn the lineup over, a second, that second leadoff hitter thing that I think maybe gets a little overinflated. But if he's swinging the bat well, like he is currently, and if he's able to get on base, he's a threat on the base pass. If him hitting in the 9-hole currently, the way that he is swinging, actually makes a lot of sense. Especially if Schwarber's going, because if you get him on the bases and you're moving him and he's in motion and Schwarber's hitting the ball well, you have a threat to pick up some runs, come 3rd, 4th inning when you're turning the lineup over. So in Rojas's case, even though he is swinging the bat well, I think him hitting 9 makes sense.
Real quick, shout out to some people in the chat. We have some people, I guess, that want to get some anger out. We haven't seen in a while, like our man at MBDBDBF, Chris Miller. Shout out you guys for chiming in here. AC Philla, Seth F, Dom, Landon Lisa.
Came in all caps.
Hell yeah. Like, hey, real quick, show of hands. Who would like Luis Robert or Jazz Chisholm or Jorge Soler or somebody else?
Well, I think the IL's got Jazz Chisholm.
Well, I know Jazz Chisholm got hurt today, but other than that,
I mean, you can't predict injuries.
Luis Robert would have looked nice in this lineup.
Injuries. At the end of the day, this group needs to be shaken up. I agree with everybody in the chat. It's frustrating. What's working now is not what they're doing now is not working. Try something different. And when you look at how they've been playing lately, the only teams, I know somebody said in the chat, the only teams they've been able to beat in the last month and a half are the Dodgers. So let's bring in John, though, because I know John Foley's waiting to jump in and share some insight on what's going on down at Citizens Bank Park, because it's bad. John Foley, you're down there in the midst of things. We heard the boos. People are not happy. I know that our friends in the chat are not happy. We're not happy. It's not a good day for the Phillies getting shut out by the worst team in Major League Baseball. What did Rob possibly say post-game that's anything surprising outside of his usual politically correct responses?
I mean, he stayed politically correct as always. It was a little bit of a somber atmosphere at his presser, just because, I know everybody wants Thompson to find some solution or shake things up, throw a chair or something. But the truth is, he doesn't have really any levers to pull. I mean, you can talk about moving players around in the lineup. You're basically nobody's hitting really, so you're shuffling the chairs on the Titanic, right? The trade deadline is passed. You're not going to make a meaningful roster addition. What can a manager, what can anyone really do? He was asked about Brandon Marsh in particular, said if Brandon Marsh doesn't start making contact, can you keep putting him in your lineup? He said, Brandon Marsh has to start making contact. So you can read into that what you will. Now, the thing is, if you sit Brandon Marsh, who's going to pop in there and start batting 300? So again, there's really just a lack of options of what can be done here. And I think everyone who's frustrated, what we feel is just not just the frustration of how they're playing right now, but also the frustration that there's no reason to think it's going to change. All you can do is sit here and hope night after night, day after day, that all of a sudden some flip is going to switch and they're going to start playing like they were earlier in the season. I mean, the talent is there somewhere. It hasn't shown up for 50 or 60 games now. But the guys we saw earlier in the season are still here. And there's really nothing to be done except sort of hope they pull it together. And maybe a team meeting of some sort. Somebody asked Rob if he's said, you've never been much of a team meeting guy since you took over the helm. And have you thought about doing that? He says, yeah, he thinks about it. He sort of tries to see where the team's mind is at. But he doesn't have, Thompson indicated that he didn't really have a problem with the team's mindset. He doesn't have a problem with their work ethic. He says they're putting in the work. They have the right attitude. It's just not translating to any success on the field.
So, John, I'm curious. My take after tonight's game is once Austin Hayes gets back, I mean, it's clear Brandon Marsh is not suitable for every night play right now. The other one who isn't either is Bryson Stott. Did anybody ask him about a platoon between Edmundo and Bryson at this point? Because it's quite bad. I know he hit two relatively hard tonight, but it's atrocious lately.
Yeah, so Stott's numbers are atrocious. I think before the game, Thompson talked about Stott in the 5 spot. He indicated he likes Stott in that spot, just because if one
they
of the
go for
first
4 to back it up tonight.
Wait,
well, what he liked about him, and this is the rationale, and you can agree or disagree. Don't shoot the messenger. But what he said was he trusts Stott to make contact in a way that maybe some of the other guys, if you're thinking maybe Castellanos or Real Muto moved up, he trusts Stott to make contact a little more than those guys, I suppose. And he's a lefty, and he wants to keep going forth. So going forward, I think I think he was happy with how Stott looked tonight. He said, despite the 0 for 4, he did really square up 2 balls pretty good. Sent him out near the warning track.
He did. It was 99.7 miles an hour, and I think a 94.5. But unfortunately, John, tonight it was just like, what was there, 13 flyouts? It seems like they're pressing. Did that come up at all? Like that they're pressing a little bit, and everybody kind of wants to be the hero here. Did Rob get into any nerdy hitting talk about tonight?
Not too much deep in the weeds. He did say, they expected to do better against this pitcher, that, they hadn't seen him, but that's not an excuse. Disappointed in the lack of hard contact, these pop-ups, these flyouts. It's just bad. It's bad all around. And it's tough to see where they go from here.
It definitely feels like the scene in the Titanic when the guys are playing the violin as the Titanic is sinking, and they're like, "One last time, guys." To have 3 of the 4 hits on the day all come from the bottom 4 batters for the Phillies of Nick Castellanos, JT, and Yoro, because of course it was not Brandon Marsh, who was 0 for on the day, is very concerning. And I know we were talking about it here, John, that It's the pitching, it's the hitting, it's the bullpen, it's everything. It's base running, it's runners in scoring position. It's literally everything. And even as frustrated as we are with Mr. Birthday himself, Taijuan Walker, who did not have a good day in his return back to the mound from the IL, 3-0 is a lead that you should be able to come back from. And so I know we were saying our thoughts on what should be done realistically to they got to make some moves, and they got to make some decisions, I should say, fast to fix things with it already mid-August. You're down there at the ballpark. What are you thinking that the team should be looking to do in terms of something to shake things up? Because it does feel like, as much as everybody wants to say the guys are fine and they're, the body language is fine, it's not. This team looks completely different. They look shell-shocked. It's a lot of hero ball. It's a lot of guys trying to win the game in one at-bat or in one play. And it's not working because their offense has been awful. What are your thoughts that you feel like the Phillies should be looking to tweak ASAP?
Yeah, I think if you get Hayes back, your outfield is probably best served with Hayes in left and Rojas and Marsh platooning in center.
Maybe not even Marsh platooning.
Maybe not even.
I mean, Rojas is playing well.
Yeah, Rojas is playing well. He also hit a couple of balls hard tonight. It's tough to find these solutions. So that's, I feel for Thompson because it does feel like he's so limited in the levers he has to pull. But at the same time, this is what a manager and a staff does. This is what they have to do. They have to be able to find something deeper than what we're looking at and what we're seeing and understanding, and really, go beyond that and figure out what's happening. Maybe you should throw a chair.
I'm going to try and bring a little positivity into this. You were on the dugout with Rob pregame when he was talking about my dear sweet boy Ranger. Looks like Ranger's going to be able to join the team after either a bullpen session or a simulated game on Sunday. It's kind of going to join them in Kansas City, it looks like. What did Rob have to say about Ranger, how he looked in his most recent outing or rehab performance? What's the word on Ranger?
Yeah, so that is one small point of optimism. Rob seemed very pleased about Suarez's performance throwing pregame. They're not sure if the next step is stint in the minors or to keep him here where they can sort of control things. So they'll figure that out. But it sounds like he's getting very close. And if a healthy Ranger Suarez comes back and can be as dominant as he was very early in the season, then that's maybe the game changer that we're looking for. Somebody else that can step up and just with the offense struggling, maybe win a 2-1 game, a 3-0 game. So that's a positive.
Just moves over the clubhouse.
Maybe a smile, and maybe
he just puts everybody at ease. He makes everybody happy again.
Yeah, so maybe Razor has to come back and bring the vibes. Other than that, I don't know. What do? We bring the dancing on our own back.
No.
Oh, you got to be on lookout, John. You got to get those. Make sure you get the Q-tips, clean out those ears. Make sure you're listening by the locker room. There.
I don't know what to do. Maybe
it feels like they're a game away from it.
Maybe a different song. I don't know. My suggestion.
It was good to see Ranger out there, and the fact that they're continuing to ramp up his rehab with that simulated game that he was able to throw. So hopefully he is able to get back healthy and be back to what we saw earlier this season for Ranger. I think the frustrating thing, guys, and I know we're all talking through our frustrations right now, the chat is venting, keep venting, vent, share, is we were having conversations prior to the July 30th trade deadline of what should the Phillies prioritize. Bullpen arms versus an outfielder that can give you good at-bats, that can give you production, that can score, that can give you good everything. And we clearly saw, based off of the moves of the trade deadline, the priorities were in line with the bullpen arm and a Carlos Estevez, who we like for the most part. But here we are now, fast forward. And as much as we can complain about the pitching, you look at even like Zach Wheeler's game, last game, even I'm going to say tonight, which is a stretch, they have been in games. It ends up being a 3-2 game. You're down 3-0 against the Marlins today. It's close games. For as bad as the pitching and bullpen has been, for the most part, we've had early on close games, I guess I could say. But it's just crazy because what this team could have been if they had maybe brought in an outfielder that can raise the level and be that true left fielder that they needed. We are banging our heads like, who's the option? I know somebody in the chat said it. The Diamondbacks bench would be starters for some of the Phillies right now.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of where we're at. They have no offensive production outside of a few guys.
Yeah, it's exactly why I was so frustrated at the trade deadline, because it felt, I'd like the moves that they did make, but it really felt like, you know, the warning signs were already blaring at the time, right, of the deadline. The team was already struggling, and it just felt like this is your last moment to get whatever reinforcements you need if you're going to really make a push this year, and you're a first place team. And they just needed somebody that was a jolt. And Hayes seems fine. Estevez seems fine. Good moves. But they're not somebody that's going to come in and provide a jolt, and not somebody where you look and say, look who we have now. Watch out, Major League Baseball. So I think it's yet another disappointing trade deadline for this team. You know, it might pay off well in the future, but this year.
On that subject, John, did Rob have any updates about Austin Hayes?
It sounded like he was getting close. I'd have to double check. I don't want to toss any. It
didn't seem like a serious one when they first announced it.
No, it wasn't like the Trey Turner hamstring or anything like that.
Some people in the chat are going like, Austin Hayes stinks. I'm like, well, have you seen Brandon Marsh over the past 8 weeks? Like, I'll take Austin Hayes right now.
Yeah.
All right, John. Well, I mean, this does feel like the new low point of the season. We've been able to say that several times now.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't get out of this week and you're going to be down there every night, grinding for allphly.com, make sure you're reading John. If it feels like, and I know the Nats are a young, feisty team, some good young talent, and the Marlins are the Marlins. They're always kind of a hemorrhoid for the Phillies. Yeah. It does feel like if you can't get out of this week, like 4-2, panic is going to be full blown in the streets. It's going
to be full blown because after that stretch, after the Nationals,
it gets hard again.
Yeah, you've got like 7 head-to-head games.
Braves, Royals,
Royals, Houston. If you're not winning these games, if you can't get right during this series, it really makes things challenging, as if they're not challenging enough.
That is the concern. There's not a lot of time, to be honest. You don't have a lot of room for error at this point in the season, like you did earlier in the year. And we're running out of regular season games that are the games like what this game should have been, a get right opportunity for the Phillies. There's very few of those. And John, as always, it's a pleasure. Hopefully, and we wish we could be chatting with you on better circumstances, but hopefully the vibes will get better at Citizens Bank Park the rest of this week, and the Phillies will actually be able to put together a full game, because that's also been an issue. How many times have we seen them go 2, 3, 4 innings, forget a run, without even a hit? So hopefully they can put together a full game and get some better baseball, because we need that very, very soon. But John, thank you as always.
Thank you. And maybe it's just darkest before dawn here. We've seen this team become terrible for no apparent reason. Maybe they can turn it back on for.
Well, we got the stopper Tyler Phillips on the mound tomorrow. So, hey, look, even Andy Dufresne had to crawl through a mile of shit to get to the other side.
That's right. And they've been crawling a while now. So
I'll tell you, it feels like we're going through 8.5 miles of shit. But hopefully there's light on the other side.
Hopefully there's light on the other side.
Please,
all right, John. We will talk to you soon. Make sure you're reading John's work on allphly.com. Thanks for hopping on, buddy.
Well, I want to give a shout out also. I don't know what this chat is happening. We started talking about religion.
Don't even acknowledge.
Back to the baseball stuff. I do want to give. Yeah, I want to give a shout out to James Alexander III for the super sticker. We appreciate you, James. I know you jumped in the chat and shared some thoughts on the Phillies as well. About how frustrating the loss is at home against the Marlins of all teams. Guys, it's just here we are. I mean, every single week now, we've been actively talking about what it's going to take for the Phillies to get better, and when will it happen? Who will be the change? What's that magic recipe that's going to help them? And I know I was talking to somebody on Twitter who didn't understand my phrasing of the Marlins being a dangerous team because they have nothing to lose. Everybody's a dangerous team for the Phillies right now, because this is the hard part. When you go out and you start the season so hot like they've done, everybody wants to now be able to get redemption against you and beat up on you. because you beat up on everybody in the first half of the season. And I've been on teams like that. I'm sure we've all been on teams like that at some point, where you have this incredible run where you're unbeatable. And the moment you come back down to earth, teams are chomping at the bit, trying to like get that redemption against you.
Oh, the Diamondbacks were straight. Tom McCarthy was talking about it. I mean, the Diamondbacks were straight up like mocking the Phillies, playing Bryson Stotza AOK walk-up song. And you know, like, teams know that the Phillies are on their heels right now. And
the Marlins are a team.
They're going to be a playoff team.
Yeah, they're a team that, right.
But
they're not playing for the playoffs. This is their playoffs, guys. This is their Red October. This is it for them to be able to say we just shut out the Phillies.
So here's the thing. My thought on this 5-game series was the 6-game weekend, you know, like the 2 and the 4, which, Jamie, I'm sure that you're frothing about now that they only have a chance to split.
Coward series.
Really, to me, it was like, this is an opportunity to get right. Like 4-2 would have been, I think people would have been happy with 4-2. Like, you probably
would have been very happy.
You probably really want to try to overextend and end up 5-1 because of how things have progressed over the last couple of weeks. But I think 4-2 would have been fine if you found a way to either to sweep this series and take 2 of 4 against Washington, or split this series and take 3 of 4 against Washington. If we come out of this weekend and we see that the Phillies are 4-2, I think we can kind of, you know, begin to move on from today. The issue is, you guys were talking about, you know, when you're the dog, when you're the hunted instead of the hunter, like, teams are going to give you their best, no doubt about it, but you can't like just fall flat on your face for 6 weeks. Like, at some point, like, you're going to get the best punch from even bad teams. You got a punch from a team that's scrappy and doesn't know what they don't know. And they've got all these dudes who nobody's ever heard of, and they're starting a guy making his 6th career start and blah, 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 blah. Like, at some point, you just have to go say, we're a better baseball team than you, and we're going to prove it over the next 9 innings.
At some point, go out to the desert and do some ayahuasca and trip your face off on mushrooms and eat some peyote. Get weird. Do something. Try anything. Try a new lineup. Put some platoon positions in order here. You're beyond the point of like letting these guys hit their way out of it. Brandon Marsh and Bryson Stott are gone, and Rob Thompson has to do something this week. I've given them luxury and the rope until now, but it is mid-August, and you're going to have a platoon somewhere on your team come playoff time. So why not start it now?
So, and here's the thing with Marsh specifically, like, he's going to play until Austin Hayes returns. So, like, unfortunately, you're not seeing your way out of this.
Does he have to?
That's why I was asking John, like, how close is he? Because it was a 10-day stint and it was retroactive.
Yeah.
So, like, if he's ready to go at 10 days, we could be looking at the end of this homestand here.
Certainly possible. But so unless you're willing to turn to Weston Wilson for a couple of days, I think that Brandon Marsh is going to play.
I am. I'm willing to turn to him.
I actually am too. I was going to say, Brandon Marsh doesn't have to.
Cody Clemens, I know you're not hitting right now. Come on down. I don't care. Anybody.
Just because Austin Hayes is out does not mean Brandon Marsh has to play. Like, I know somebody brought up Cody Clemens in the chat, Weston Wilson. Like, I am ready to bring up anybody that just acts. First of all, just anybody that looks like they want to be out there, because at this point,
bring up Aiden Miller. I don't give a shit.
Right. It's not a talent thing. It's the Phillies don't look like they want to win. They're going through the motions. They are, I know everybody has always says, like, the body language, of course, is going to be bad because they're losing, because they're struggling. No, as an athlete, there's a difference between that, like, loser mentality and I'm losing mentality. It's totally different things. You can still be struggling and still be trying to, like, work your way out of it. I feel like the Phillies almost have looked like they've given up at times and are careless. And I'm curious to know in the chat, as you guys had asked, what is considered a fail for this week? Because these are 2 series, as we keep talking about, they have to get it figured out. You got to get something out of someone. I don't care who that someone is. It can be Weston. It can be Liam Castellanos, for all I care. You got to figure out a way to get something out of someone coming out of this week. And it's got to translate into wins. If they come out of this week, anything less, you can't lose both series. You just can't. That's like an absolute.
I'm kind of floored by a comment in our chat right now.
So I just want to make a point, because I know where you're about to go, Jamie. That disgusted look that I just made was not directed at you, Renee, when you were talking. That was at the comment that I think Jamie and I both saw at the same time, and
we kind of knocked my socks off a little bit
about it.
Which one? There's so many
Was it Adam? Sorry, I just lost it. Adam, thank you for contributing to the show. All opinions are welcome here. He says, can anyone admit that JT has been a huge hitting disappointment his entire Phillies tenure?
JT had 3 consecutive 25.
Are we talking about the last 4 weeks?
Yeah, he's been terrible since he's come back.
But like his career numbers with the Phillies, batting average 275, 266, 263, 276, 252, this year down to 247. That is consistent. On base, 328, 349, 343, 342, 310, 303. Consistent. OPS, 820, 840, 782, 820, 762. This year down to 685. The man is a model of consistency, and for his position has been offensively one of the better catchers in baseball over the last 5 years. So, Adam, I totally disagree.
He's a gaps hitter.
He's rowdy, guys. Is what it comes down to. This is what happens when you are losing games. I'm seeing all types of stuff, of different comments and craziness. This is what happens when we saw the Phillies winning game after game, after game, sweeping people. Everything was all happy-go-lucky. We were like, la, 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 like living on cloud nine. But because they are losing, people are mad. You're either drunk on frustration or drunk on other things or high on life or whatever it is that's going on.
Thelma agrees with Adam.
I know. Thelma and Louise, basically, is what's happening here.
Thelma Granison coming in hot, dropping an elbow on JT. Real quick, shout out to Alec Boehm. 30 consecutive games on base. Times suck right now, but that is a pretty damn good feat, the longest streak in baseball. So kudos to him on that. He's been one of him and Schwarber have been your 2 most consistent guys all year, and now somehow Castellanos is entering the ring as one of your most consistent guys after his terrible first 6 weeks, 7 weeks, whatever it was.
It was kind of funny. He struck out tonight on a pitch that like he was striking out a lot on in the early portions of the season. And he kind of, he lunged and did that little bat flail thing that he did on the breaking ball down and away. And I went, whoa, where'd that come from? That's early Castellanos. That's not you anymore, buddy. What are we doing? But he's been really good. We've talked about him a ton. Alec Boehm, 30 consecutive games on base. Like you can't complain too much more. The guy's on pace.
He's been great. He's been great this year.
What did you say the other day? Doubles, like 55 doubles or something like that.
The hard thing is the Phillies aren't getting anything out of it at this point. Like it's the only thing we had that's positive because he has consistently at least been getting on base and he's giving you doubles, he's giving you good hits. But it's so frustrating to see him give a great play, a double. We saw it actually today with I think it was Yoro, it would have been. And then after that, out, innings over. Like it's just very frustrating that nobody's able to feed off of that. You would think with having a 30-game consecutive streak, somebody would start to like feed off of that energy and do something. I know we mentioned Kyle and Nick and Yoro as the other 3 that have been contributing, but it's too few and far between. And that's been the common theme for this team, unfortunately.
Well, good thing is it's a 2-game coward series. Tomorrow we have Edward Cabrera versus the stopper Tyler Phillips. At best, you can now split a series because who the hell plays 2 and 4 game series in baseball? It's coward stuff. And then the Washington Nationals are on deck. And stop me if you've heard this before, but they have Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, and likely Christopher Sanchez ready to go versus the Nationals. Your 3 best pitchers should be fine, right?
Sure hope so.
Can't win games if you don't score runs.
Should be fine, right?
Yeah, no. I'm
not
feeling great, Jamie and Tyler.
I feel good about Wheeler. He's the only one.
But you look at that 3-2
and actually loss. Sanchez back home should be fine.
You look at the 3-2 loss behind Zach Wheeler. Zach Wheeler pitched well, but you had no offense, no run support. Doesn't matter. So they can't pitch and score runs. Although, you know what? Maybe it is time to get back to that. Can Zach Wheeler go hit again? Can we get him some at-bats?
Yeah.
I would not suggest it. Even when pitchers were hitting,
it could possibly be worse what we're seeing, right?
All right. Well, I know what can help us all. You know what that is?
Going to bed.
$1 Miller Lights, $1 hot dogs. $1 Miller Lights, $1 hot dogs. And maybe some Phillies tickets. Maybe they'll be good again by the time we give away tickets to an upcoming game. But we would love to hang with you coming up in Center City for our watch party on the 29th at Top Tomato downtown. We have $1 Miller Lights, $1 hot dogs. We're going to be giving away Phillies tickets. We're going to be giving away signed memorabilia. We're going to have a good time. The Miller Lights will be flowing if the Phillies are still bad, and hot dogs always help. A little glizzy. So hopefully, yeah, I mean, it's a win-win. So hopefully you can join us. Just go to allphly.com. The events tab up top. Just RSVP for free for your chance to win some of these great items. And we look forward to seeing some of you there. Tomorrow morning, we are back at 11 a.m. The great Jim Salisbury is going to join us at 11:30 a.m. to get the veteran scribe's wise perspective on this downfall that the Phillies are in. Would you guys like my 5-year-old daughter's observation tonight as to why Trey Turner isn't good anymore?
Yeah, please. Juan Soto just hit his first career 3 home run game.
Who did?
Juan Soto just hit his first.
He's good at baseball.
Game. You know, it's nice that teams know how to score runs, but yes, please tell us what she said.
Skylar said that
the bank pay or whoever opens up the bank for him, because they're
hopefully John Middleton.
They're going to encroach probably $600 million.
At this point, the Phillies need to
Skylar says that Trey Turner is no longer hitting home runs because Merrifield isn't here.
Out of the mouth of babes. She's
and
going to kindergarten and got it all figured out.
I couldn't dispute it. I was like, yeah, I mean, at this point, maybe you're right. Maybe Whit Merrifield was the glue to this team. I don't know anymore. So from the mind of a 5-year-old, that might be the Phillies' problem, that they got rid of Whit Merrifield.
Ever since Whit Merrifield's got let go, this team hasn't been the same. He was not good on the team, but it's been a lot worse since he's left the team.
I will say this, Jamie, on a positive note, you're clearly doing something right as a dad that your 5-year-old knows the bench players for the Phillies team. You're doing something really right. So kudos to you as a dad.
There's a small win. There's a win.
Yeah, I just want to see the Phillies have a I want to take her to a World Series parade, so I know I got her for life. You know, so we are.
It's gonna be some time before that happens.
Yeah. Well, hopefully there's an end to this suffering. But for Tyler, Renee, myself, Jamie, we are back live tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Hopefully you can join us on the 29th at Top Tomato, $1 Miller Lite, $1 hot dogs. See you then. I could use a Miller Lite right now.
Good night, guys.
Adios.